Mike Dell's World, number 506 for October 27th, 2025.
I think it's time for Mike Dell's World.
There it is.
And there it is. Here I am. Hey, it hasn't been 6 months, so I guess this is a bonus extra. Holy crap, but I did one within the same month episode. Or was it quite the same month? Let me go look for sure, but I think it might be. Anyway, welcome to Mike Dell's World. Thanks for staying subscribed, even though I'm not very regular when it comes to making these podcast episodes. And actually, I haven't been regular making podcast episodes for the other podcasts that I do, Podcast Insider. We haven't done one in, I don't know, a month and a half or 2 months, something like that. But they are resuming in November. So look forward to that. We got a new co-host on board, Dave Clements. You probably heard him on there before. And if you've been talking to Blueberry at all, Dave is kind of the other support guy. Me, Sean, and Dave are the support guys over at Blueberry. So you'll get one of us. And anyway, Dave is also the face of our YouTube channel over at Blueberry Podcasting YouTube. I don't know. Just look for Blueberry Podcast. Anyway, this isn't a Blueberry commercial. This is an episode of Mike Dell's World. You know, what's going on in my world. And to be honest with you, winterizing, basically. I winterized both campers, Mom's and mine. Finally got that all done, got the boats put away, got most of the outdoor stuff put away for the winter, got the snow blowers out, going to take the tractor in a couple of weeks to get it all serviced up and ready for winter. Got to put the cab and the snow blower on it. But I'm waiting for the rest of the leaves to fall out there so that I can scoop them up with the tractor before I put the snowblower on. That's the plan anyway. But other than that, haven't been doing a whole lot. Did a little flying, not a lot. It's kind of that time of year where we're getting lake effect rain. So the weather hasn't really been conducive for flying. So I think I might hang up my... I guess it wouldn't be spurs, but hang up my headset and wait till spring. I don't want to fight weather. Just don't. Yeah, I'm a fair weather pilot, so we'll call it good for this year, and maybe I can sneak one more in before the weather turns to crap altogether. But that's the gist of it anyway. So the other thing that's been going on lately is I've been under a bunch of stress, and a lot of the stress is brought on by myself, and I haven't really found a great way to alleviate it. And I'm wondering, if I could get some suggestions from you guys, some of the things that, that you do to alleviate some stress. And a lot of the stuff's brought on by myself. I overthink everything. I've been overthinking the flying. I've been overthinking the work situation, with Todd passing away a couple months ago. And, we're doing okay here at Blueberry. No big deal there. I mean, well, big deal, but not, like I said, nothing is stopping. We're chugging along and planning and making some good organizational changes that will ensure that we stick around for the long term. I plan on sticking around for at least another bunch of years. I'm not ready to retire yet. So, gotta keep it viable. So that, but like I said, I just been stressed over silly little things, overthinking, I guess, would be my main problem. And then when I do have time to relax or de-stress or whatever, then, then it gets worse. Or, I'll sit down, normally reading would be my go-to, sit back in the easy chair, break out the Kindle and, just read. But, I get 4 or 5 pages into a book or something, and if the stress goes away, I go to sleep. I don't know if that's because I'm getting older. I don't know. But, or I, get reading into, get into a book and, get interested in all that, and then something interrupts me and I don't get back to it. And, taking a walk or going for a bike ride, all that stuff. It's just, I don't want to do that. I just don't. But it's, been pretty much constant this whole year. There's just been, things and stuff coming up, and a lot of it I'm not in control of, got to go on a trip. I don't want to go on the trip, but I got to go on the trip. And, it's good to go on the trip, but, we went out to Minneapolis to my nephew's wedding, and that was all fine and good. But, just the pre-trip logistics and all the stuff that goes into planning something like that, even though, we're just going there to attend. Sounds like I'm going to have a fighting by here in a second. So if you happen to hear that, that's what's going on. But you might not hear it. I get helicopters flying over the house all the time, and nobody hears it on my microphone, so maybe it's a non-issue. But, just one thing after another, and, I like all this winterizing stuff. Well, you got to do it when the weather's good. And, you spend all day doing something, you feel accomplished, and then you sit there and you look at your to-do list, and you're like, oh, man, I got all this other crap to do. Now, here comes the fire trucks. Let's see here. Yeah, there he goes. Let's watch him on the camera. Anyway, it just seems like every second of my day is scheduled. And this weekend, this past weekend, my wife took off for Grand Haven for a couple of days, or Muskegon, I guess. Down to her brother's place for a Michigan wedding reception for the happy couple that got married in Minneapolis. They get to come here and do a little party. I didn't have to go. In fact, I really couldn't go because I'm babysitting dogs. So, I got an extra dog, I should say. We're down to one, and then we got a second dog here that we have part-time just because his mom is a nurse and she works 12-hour shifts, but she took a vacation down to Puerto Rico, which I guess is not getting the big hurricane. I don't know. I chatted with her a little bit today on text, and she didn't mention anything about it, so I imagine that everything's okay in Puerto Rico, but she'll be back Wednesday. So I really couldn't go down to this thing with Kathy, which is fine. I went to the wedding and the reception there in Minneapolis, or not Minneapolis, I should say an hour or so outside of Minneapolis, but that's where we flew in. And, so I had some time. Well, on Saturday, I went out and, did the campers and the boats and, a few other little chores around Mom's place, which was great. I'm glad to get it done. It feels really good to get everything accomplished there. And I had all day Sunday to do just what I wanted. So I got up in the morning, did my normal ham radio activity. In case you're in earshot HF-wise, at 9 o'clock in the morning, I get on 3935 for what we call SmashNet, the Sunday morning social hour. It usually lasts about an hour, but unless you're in Michigan, Ontario, Ohio, Indiana, maybe Illinois, maybe Wisconsin. You're not going to hear it, but we get a lot of check-ins from around Michigan anyway, mostly in Ontario. And then, at 10:30, most Sundays I get on the IOOK net around 7185 on 40 meters. And, that reaches out a little further, pretty much Northeast and Midwest. It covers pretty well. And I usually get on there for at least one round and then go off to brunch. So, Sunday I went off to brunch and with a friend of mine. We, usually my mom joins us, but she was busy. And so, we had lunch and I came home and I had the whole rest of the day to myself. And what did I do? I sat in the damn chair and watched YouTube all day, which was nice. But then again, you get to thinking and whatnot. And, I don't know. It's been interesting and a bit stressful. So, hey, what stress relief works for you? Send that off to me, mike@mikedell.com. I always like to hear from you guys. And I know there's somebody out there listening. I get the stats. And, don't hear a whole lot from you anymore. Speaking of blasts from the past, like me doing regular podcasts, listen to Trucker Tom today from probably a month and a half ago. And he was mentioning Todd's passing. Maybe it was 2 months ago. Geez, I don't know how long, whatever his last episode was. And he's kind of slowed down on the publishing because, once you retire, you're too busy to have time to podcast. That's what I hear anyway. I don't know. I still got some years left. But anyway, he had mentioned, I'm not sure what's going to happen with Blueberry. Well, nothing's happening with Blueberry. We're plugging along just like we always did. But anyway, it was cool hearing from him. He's been retired for about a year. And sounds like he doesn't miss the road at all. I think I would have a hard time, if I was on the road all the time and then all of a sudden I wasn't. I might miss that a little bit. But, I guess each to their own. I guess, being as a truck driver, I imagine being home is where you want to be a lot of the time. So maybe he's just not tired of that yet. Plus, he got a dog, and getting a dog. That's you're in charge of a whole other entity. It's not like just being single and you do whatever you want. You got to think about the critter. It's with us, we can't just pick up and go all the time because we got the dog to worry about, and that's just it's just how it is. You choose that kind of thing. And somebody just pulled in my driveway. Oh, it's my neighbor. Okay, cool. I shouldn't have my camera up while I'm podcasting here. I am thinking about doing the Napod Pomo again this year, although I want to do it a little differently. Used to be when I would do that, I would just, do a little short episode every day and no theme to it. But I think I want to do a theme. Here, let me go grab some paperwork here. Hang on. All right. There we go. And kind of what I'd like to do is, this is going to be life around northern Michigan, around Traverse City. And, they are going to be short episodes, but I'm going to have them kind of mapped out. I've got, a list of episodes here. One of them's called A Beagle Walk Through the Crunchy Leaves. So I'll go take Benny and go for a walk and put on my portable recorder like I used to do all the time and just take a walk and talk. Another one, The Road to Interlaken. You probably know what Interlaken is, but it's a little town south of here. And then we're home to a fine arts camp. And, I don't know. I think it'd be kind of fun. It'd be kind of a few of these will be remote from the vehicle or from walking and all that, kind of what I used to do back in the day. But I'm going to kind of talk about stuff from around here. That's where I live. This is my world. Like on Thanksgiving, I'll do a Thanksgiving episode. Thanksgiving up north, traditions, food, weather, all that stuff. The last mowing of the year, talk about that. Snow tires and salt trucks. Got these kind of mapped out, what I want to do on what day. And, I might record a few of them ahead of time. And then some of the remote ones, record right around the day they go out. But, it's in case you're not familiar with NaPodPoMo, that's National Podcast Posting Month, and that's over at napodpomo.org. And Jennifer Navarrete, and I think I pronounced her name mostly right, she kind of spearheads that, and I think it's the 18th year, something like that. I know it's been quite a while. Here, let me look it up. napodpomo.org. And let's see if I typed everything right. Yeah, so this is the 18th year, so since 2007. And basically it's a challenge for podcasters to post 30 episodes in 30 days, November 1st through the 30th. And, really, there's no real purpose to it other than, hey, why not? And, I might be able to put a I did it badge on my website. So stay tuned for that. I think I am going to do that. The first episode will be November 1st. And, going to explain all this again. So, but I'll explain it a little bit more. This will be a series of 30 episodes all about November up north. So whether you're interested or not, well, I appreciate you hanging out and listening anyway. Should be fun. Again, like I said, I get to do a little bit of sound seeing tours. I don't know. This has been kind of nostalgia week for me too, and I think I had an episode about nostalgia being a disease. If you take it to the extreme, I guess it could be. But I guess that's the basis of hoarding is nostalgia. But that's not what I'm doing here. But back in the day when podcasting was new, there was a lot of people doing what they called sound seeing tours. Father Roderick did episodes from the Vatican, walking around with his Sony mini disc recorder, and when they were picking the new pope after Pope John Paul died. And that was very interesting, even if you weren't a Catholic. It was Catholic Insider, I think was what he called it. But I believe he's still podcasting. He is a podcast Hall of Famer. But, that's interesting. Speaking of that, with Todd passing away, a lot of the travel is going to fall on me for these conferences. Now, I did plenty of them anyway, but I'm going to have to pick up a few extra ones. And I do have a speaking gig in Florida in January. It's a good time to go to Florida. So looking forward to that. Sort of, except for I got to get my slides together. But I got a few months, so we're good. Let's see. I think I've mentioned just about everything of any great consequence. Just plugging along here and trying to stay de-stressed. So like I said, I do want your suggestions for de-stressing, within reason. I'm not going to go run a marathon or walk 20 miles or go to the gym, God forbid. No, actually, I am thinking about joining the gym, but for other reasons. But anyway. And I guess podcasting helps too, getting a little of this off your chest and without going into detail. Like I said, I could go into a lot more detail, but I don't want to do that because, some things shall remain private. But yeah, it's very cool. One of the discussions I've been having lately with, teammates and other podcasters and all that is the role of AI in podcasting. Now, I've done a fair amount of AI stuff. I even did an experimental episode where I had the AI read it as me. And I don't know, it didn't sound good. But a lot of the podcasting, I think people are going to looking for authentic human voices. Instead of the AI-generated content, there's a lot of AI-generated content. YouTube is kind of my primary source of television, for the most part. I mean, of course, I still watch Star Trek. My wife and I, go through all the series in Star Trek, and that's kind of our thing. And I think we're on the second round of of doing all of them. We're currently in Star Trek Voyager 6th season, in case you're keeping track. But we're watching them in chronological order, not chronological in the story sense, but chronological in when they came out to the public. So we're up to Voyager. The next one will be Enterprise, and then I guess the next one would be Discovery. We watched Discovery when it was first run on Paramount Plus or CBS, whatever. I don't know. It's changed names a couple times. It's on Paramount Plus now, so we'll probably watch that through, and then, we'll just keep going through the series. And by the time we get back to the original series, we'll have forgotten most of it. And I've noticed that with Voyager, we'll both sit there and go like, I don't remember this episode. And then halfway through, we'll go, oh, yeah, I kind of remember it. And I sort of remember it. And it's kind of amazing that, wasn't that many years ago we watched it, and here we are watching it again. And, there's a lot of Trek out there for sure. But anyway, get back to YouTube. A lot of times, YouTube will suggest a video, and you start on the video, and you can tell obviously that it's just AI generated slideshow and stock video. And I really try to thumbs down those and bail on them, but some of them are pretty good, I have to say. But I much prefer the actual humans talking, or, I might have got fooled a few times with the, but there's, some AI voices out there that immediately you just know that, oh yeah, that's the AI guy. It's a good voice and all that, but it's the AI guy. So I really try not to watch those. And then amazing thing was all the clickbait. Oh my gosh. It's, so-and-so is in jail, and they'll, go through the whole, and I'll watch it just because, oh, really? Are they? And I watch a guy on there, Derek Beery, Vice Grip Garage, and he puts out an episode every Friday. And, a lot of the times he's finding an old car somewhere, fixing it, getting it on the road, and driving it home 700 miles or 1,000 miles or whatever, from the junkyard. And that's interesting stuff. But, he's got a very successful YouTube page. And every once in a while, or YouTube page, I hate the word page when it comes to YouTube. It's not a page, it's a channel. Anyway, and I just did it. But he's got a very successful YouTube channel. And there's, clickbait AI videos on there. Derek Beery sentenced to life, and then you go and it's just basically a really crappy AI tutorial or a bio of him, and nowhere in there does it say he went to jail. So I hope YouTube can crack down on that crap, or at least make it so they're not monetized. It's or maybe this is AI. Have a big tag or something. But for the most part, I can tell still. It hasn't got that good yet. Although in Trucker Tom's episode, he did a segment where he put a bunch of his writings in there and then had the AI create an interview of, two AI individuals. And that sounded quite good. I mean, I could tell it was not real people, but it's getting more convincing. So yeah, we're kind of wrestling with that at Blueberry. We have AI tools. In fact, you read the show notes of this episode, and I probably will use AI, and the transcript will be AI. So you got to listen to it. This is an audio medium. Most people don't read the stuff you write anyway. But, I use our tools to create the show notes. Why not? It just saves me a step, and I'm not that great a writer. So anyway, I guess I wanted to get that little part about AI in there. And so what is it? The 27th. So I got, 4 days, 5 days, 4 days anyway. And you'll hear the first episode of my November Up North series on Mike Dell's World for NaPodPoMo. 90% sure I'm going to do it. So stay tuned. Thanks for listening. Thanks for all that stuff. And you can find everything about me over at MikeDell.com. Catch me later.